Radiation safety information session. ALARA is our most important principle in radiation safety, also known as low as reasonably achievable. ALARA is the philosophy and guidelines that help to keep the risk of radiation exposure down. ALARA guidelines are limited to ensure that safety is maintained. We know that lower doses carry lower risk, and this concept helps us to maintain the effective safety. Radiation safety is divided into three concepts: shielding, time, and distance. The first concept is shielding. As lead shielding thickness increases, so does its effectiveness for dose reduction. The thicker the lead shielding, the lower dose the person receives, which is why wearing lead in the OR or in fluoroscopy or in C-arm procedures is so very important. Time, our second concept. The less time in the presence of radiation, the less exposure you will have. Clearly, the smaller time or the less time you have, the lesser of the exposure you will receive in a procedure. And lastly, distance. Distance, by doubling the distance from the X-ray tube, i.e. the C-arm, you will reduce your dose by 1/4. So just by taking your distance from 3 feet to 6 feet, you've now quartered your dose in a C-arm procedure. Now to monitoring badges. All of you have been issued monitoring badges. Monitoring badges are used to measure the exposure of radiation. They're usually worn outside of your lead at the chest level. Your dose is tracked and reported quarterly. If you have not received your quarterly badge doses, please reach out to administration. They will have your dose badges. I will say many dose badges come back with a letter M, meaning minimal, which means they're unable to read the amount on the badge because it's so small. But please reach out if you have any questions. There is a lifetime record of radiation received. Every year that amount is put out by the physicist at the hospital. If you have any questions about what you've received, it should be mailed or sent to the hospital. If you are pregnant, please request a fetal badge. Both yourself and the fetus will be monitored during gestation for safety. Now, the do's and don'ts of lead safety. As we all know, lead is a very important part of our shielding and our concept for radiation safety. Why do we need lead? X-ray aprons serve a very specific purpose to protect and shield you from the potentially harmful effects of ionizing radiation. Like I said, one of the three concepts is shielding. Always make sure you inspect and check your apron for defects, cracks, creases, and perforations. If your lead is cracked or creased or perforated, that allows radiation to penetrate those areas of lead. So please make sure that it is good to go before you put it on for a day of service. Scrubbles. Scrubbles is our Stewart apron cleanser. Is the first and only cleanser developed specifically for X-ray aprons. So the instructions are applying these scrubbles onto one section of the apron at a time and allowing to stand for a few minutes. You scrub the area with a soft bristle brush. You do not let the solution dry before rinsing. You rinse the section with water and a damp cloth, and then you continue steps 1 through 3 until the entire apron is cleaned. Storing aprons. Lead aprons are not meant to be hung over chairs or hung over doors. They are to be hung on approved apron hangers, either on a bar or on a wall. X-ray apron manufacturers recommend regarding the proper handling and storage of aprons must be strictly observed. When it is not in use, the X-ray aprons must be stored on hangers to prevent the cracks in the preventative lead. If possible, do not store the X-ray aprons on flat surfaces. Aprons should be hung by shoulders or on approved apron hangers. Aprons should never be folded or creased to avoid damaging the lead. Cracks in the lead lining can develop at the fold, reducing the useful life of the apron. Disposing of lead. So when our lead aprons get to a point where they're at end of life, we can never throw them in the trash. They need to be recycled in a preferred manner. The Environmental Protective Agency encourages recycling and reuse rather than disposal. So please, if your lead is old and at end of life, please bring it to admin so that we can dispose of it or recycle it properly. When using lead, unless the lead is designed for sitting, please never sit for long periods of time with it. It can develop cracks that can then develop into uselessness of the lead apron. So if you are using a lead and you're sitting for long periods of time, please be mindful that the efficiency of the lead is being reduced. Expose apron to extreme temperatures. To prevent damage to the apron, you will want to avoid exposing the apron to extreme hot or cold and to direct sunlight. When using the lead, please try to reduce or not lean against pointed objects or sharp edges. This will reduce the integrity of the lead. As you can see, every year our leads get fluoroed under X-ray and on our X-ray tables, and this is an example of what we see. These white spots and white lines are actually where the lead's integrity is being brought forth. So please be mindful that these white areas of where the lead is being brought forth is where X-ray can come through. And as mentioned earlier before, never laying an apron over the back of a chair or a piece of equipment. It can create creases in the lead, thereby reducing the usefulness and life of the apron. And lastly, folding aprons to prevent damage to the lead lining, avoiding folding, walding, or creasing at your apron is very useful. I know that we're all trying to store it, keep everything neat and clean, but folding a lead apron, all aprons need to be hung on approved apron hanging apparatuses. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.